Welcome back, my fellow agents. It is I, X7, your humble agent and book reviewer. It's also Wednesday, which is Book Review Wednesday nowadays. Today we're going to be talking about, of course, the comic book story of beer. It's illustrated and really fun and very informative. So, having said all of that, we're just going to get right into it. Okay? Well, as you can see, Agent K is here. Apparently, she hasn't seen me enough today. And it was just a matter of time before she did a video bomb. So cute little cat, isn't she? You can see. I don't think you can see her little extra thumbs. Oops, sorry, baby. Anyway, before here's the book. So I do have it in my possession. It was written and produced in 2015. It's about 170 pages, and it was written by Jonathan Hennessy and Mike Smith, art by Aaron McConnell, lettering by Tom Orzechowski of X-Men fame, and an excellent letterer. And it's wonderful, as we'll see in the illustrations. I had to pare it down quite a bit since it only runs 171 pages, but it's wonderful. Yes, I love you. And we're going to get right into it so that little Miss Photobomb here. Hi. Yes, we'll get her face out of my mouth, and I can speak properly. More gooder, if you will. So let's get right into the review now. Okay, so here we have your title page there. Um, I'm assuming that Aaron McConnell did all the coloring and everything. I don't know, but 10-speed graphic. I got my retails for $19.99, but I think I got mine for a bit less on Amazon. But you can find it just about anywhere. I didn't realize it was 10 years old when I got it, and which was just recently, but it's fascinating, as we'll see. So there's your index. The framing is right here. This man has his buddies call him up and say, hey, we're having a party. Go get some beer. And not the crap you drink. So you can extrapolate what that is, mass produced anything. And he has nothing about beer. So he has to go. So our journey is to learn how beer was created, beer and bread, and just the history of it, which is 9,000 years old. I mean, who knew beer was that old? And it goes through. So we start in the ancient world. Uh, and I want to say, yeah, in China there, is that it? And then the accident, and then this is just extrapolation from what the archaeologists have read and, decided that this is a possible explanation. It's pretty likely. I'm not going to go into it too much, except these illustrations are super cool. I mean, look at that. And, who knows what these guys. And look, there's a guy with a hammer. He must be worthy. So, but Ninkasi, she is credited with honey, or in creating the first beer that upon throw your bread upon the water. That's in Ecclesiastes. Incidentally, beer is in the Bible. So all those teetotalers that'll come up later on had, no leg to stand on except their own control issues. There's Ninkasi, and so there's a lot of women that kept beer alive over the centuries, over the millennia, let's say. And our next there is my beloved Sekhmet, who is destroying men. When humans grew too powerful for the god's liking, Sekhmet was sent to punish the mortal earth dwellers. And she did her job too well and was going to wipe out humanity. One can't really blame her, right? But they gave her beer. Well, they gave 7,000 jars, and she got drunk and fell over with a Kirby-like crash to the ground, or any comic book-like crash. I like the fact that she's got a cobra on top of her head as well. I consider Sekhmet and Bastet two separate goddesses. Some people do not, but I think they're sisters, younger and older. Take it for what it is. They find me amusing. And then there was one more, Sham, Shamhat, um, and more. But a lot of Shakar, uh, meaning beer. So makes many appearances in the Bible. The book of Numbers, sacrificed two gods, tells Moses to have him sacrifice, what's it say? 2 quarts of beer a day to their God. A drink offering of beer to the Lord. Now, this is something you never hear in Bible school now, do you? Or in church. And then beer fell out of favor. Thank you, Greeks and Romans, who preferred wine because the ingredients for beer didn't grow well in the Mediterranean countries at the time. So, and then we just go forward a bit more of how you make beer. And, there you go. Hops was the magic ingredient. That was the third key ingredient. So it gives them their bitter taste. And as someone like Lilith, who likes a bitter beer, the bitterer, the betterer. Geez, I can't believe I said that. And now we go through the brewing. They hadn't got to, cans, let alone bottles yet. So it was, you drank it right away and at room temperature. So all kinds of things there. Kegging. Bottling or other packaging came later. I mean, in the last century, essentially. I just like this picture of Beowulf fighting a vicious dragon, Grendel. You never see Grendel looking like that either in the comics. So hard partying lifestyle, and mentions beer several times. So again, here's our first. It's one of the oldest styles of beer. Lambics are pretty moderate. Strength is moderate. They're not bad. It's not something. It's a little fruitier than I would like. The taste, that is. But I do like a good Hefeweizen and a Goes. But anyway, so yes, there were no beer brands. There's the IPA. You can just, yeah. So there's a lot of name brands in the book, but they didn't ask for any compensation, or that's not advertising for them. They're just talking about the history. And women, again, were called alewives, who kept the beer making alive. Now, Trappists, doubles and triples, they don't really mention triples. It's somewhere in here. I quite enjoy those. They're pretty dark, and low IBU. IBU is International Bitter Unit. Pardon me. So, 24 is pretty. You're not gonna. It's good. It's easy to swallow. And the beer stein. They credit the plague, the Black Plague, for putting lids on the steins so that the bugs couldn't get in. And then we've got the Bock from Einbach. And again, I like a good Bock. It's not bad at all. Not super strong, but let's see. Shakespeare. Yeah. Oh, look, there's Martin Luther, who really liked his beers. I mean, he's German after all, so one could get in serious jeopardy for endorsing Martin Luther because, yes. And now we have the best beer in the world, porters, stout porters. So it's just look at that. An entire butt. But they don't say that anymore. Although I'm afraid if Lilith does watch this all the way through, this is moderate to hoppy. 40 IBUs is nothing. I myself, your humble agent, can handle 70 IBUs. After that, it gets a little dicey. But sometimes a little bitter is good. And a moderate strength is moderate. Yeah, some of it's pretty. I mean, they can get pretty strong, and a lot of there's a lot of flavors for stouts, coffee and cookies, and dessert stouts, pastry stouts. Just I don't care for too much flavors. Although the coconut ones I've had have been really quite tasty, which is odd since I'm not a big coconut fan. Next, we have Lilith's favorite. Oh, it looks like there's a couple of Higgentoots on here. I wonder how that happened. But she better get this far at least. Got to listen at least 10 minutes in, Lilith. So India Pale Ales, it's just fascinating because it didn't start out bitter. Now that says very bitter. 70 IBU is bitter,
but it's not undrinkable. Somebody I know who will remain nameless, Lilith, not naming anyone, Lilith, couldn't drink. I've seen her drink 100 IBU beers and 90 IBU beers, and your humble agent can't do it. I tap out, which is good because we don't ever drink each other's beers anymore. We'll get into that in a minute. And then I just wanted to have the IPA in there for her. And then we've got lagers and beer. Incidentally, the word beer comes from the Latin bibere, to drink. So you're supposed to drink it. I just like this because obviously Mr. I've forgotten his name already, Aaron McConnell, it knows his comic books. And look, he's got a pretty much Transformers, and it looks like an all-terrain armored transport right there, and X-East, so strangest superheroes of them all. And then you've got your Pilsners, which are what we get a lot here. My brother likes these German styles, and as it says right there, this is what it's what most people think of as beer. So, that was brought in Germany and then over into the U.S., the New World. There's your Pilsner family reunion. I don't want to drink any of those. So I can in a pinch, but I'd prefer not to. And Guinness First Strength. Now this was kind of a falsity, but innocent masses still didn't know there was actually alcohol in beers, which is, yes, hard to believe. Then we get to prohibition. They don't make it look like lips that touch liquor shall not touch ours. Well, so yeah, the temperance people were self-righteous fools, much like the Crusaders. And it worked for a while. And then Langling, that's my brother drank that in Pennsylvania, and they went on to just made ice cream instead, which was smart because they're still around. They're still making beer now. Banned any beer over Volstead Act, 0.5% alcohol by volume. I mean, that's like, you might as well just drink water. It'll clean you out. And they say, and of course, organized crime got up there and said, hey, we'll fill in the thing. And I don't know that I'd trust any alcohol that the home brewers were making at the time. But look at there. Roosevelt, good old FDR. And now we've got the American lager. Lager, that's a type of beer. It's adequate. Budweiser, Miller, Coors. I mean, once again, in a pinch, if you're desperate. But, 3.2 was what 18-year-olds could buy here in Fossil Bed back in the day. And then 5.5 is like the highest. And it's, I mean, again, it's like if it's a pinch and it's hot, it's good on a hot day. An ice cold, any kind of ice cold beer is good on a hot day, I've found. But because of all this, the people in the United States started brewing beers that had been virtually extinct. There's your Diplodocus, that's probably Dippy right there, and even a porter, first brewed in 72. When your humble agent was still very young and humble. But Anchor Brewing, I've had an Anchor brew or two back in my day. And look at here. There's a local one right there, Avery Brewing. And we know that that's where the less beloved Maharaja comes from. And they do make good beers. The other ones I don't really recognize. But Sonoma, wine country of all places. Thrilled to taste remarkable beers in Scotland. Now we've got an American Pale Ale. Is it hoppy? It says 50 IBU. I don't know. I don't know that I've ever actually had an APA. As far as I knew, that was the Acolyte Protection Agency. Brash reinvention of its cousin. They also have APLs or IPLs, Indian Pale Lagers and American Pale Lagers, which again, they're kind of like splitting hairs to me, but whatever. They have black ales that I've had, and a bunch. Since this is 10 years old, they've done some more things. Look at these two. They legalized home brewing in 2013, so just 2 years before this book was published. These two states decided to join the 21st century, well, or at least the 20th. So yeah, Jimmy James Earl Carter, 1978. So there are all sorts of little asides here. It's just really, again, it's really informative. This is just a quick overview here. We're not going to go too much into it. Belgian Vit. So to Texas, geez. So here's this again how the home brewing and the microbreweries came about again, which are once again being swallowed up by larger brewers because they'll just offer them too much money. And what are you going to do? My beloved Santo Palo Marron is gone. Thank you, Samuel Adams, buying up Dogfish Head. I was hoping they would remake it, and maybe they'll come back out with it. Speaking of Sam Adams, it's still, yeah, well, they say largest craft brewery. Dogfish Head still is around. They're just not making my beloved brown ale, which it's my look at there we go, more Belgian Vit and porters. I'm so glad they brought porters back. I should mention we can go back to the Coors. When your humble agent was ages ago started investigating beer, thanks to someone I won't mention, Lilith, by name, we started out with the Blue Moon style of beer with and it's still a good beer. Again, it's in a pinch. And we went to Stella, and then we kind of started diverging. But she told me that this thing called a car bomb, where you put stuff in Guinness, because I wasn't really going to drink darker beer, more potent beer. But she's like, if you put stuff in it, it's good, and she's not wrong. We have talked about this on GD Explanations. And then she told me about the snake bite, which was a half a Guinness and half a cider, a pear cider. I prefer, even though I don't like pears. But I like it better because it's not as sweet as an apple cider, but you can use both. Now, that's the snake bite we knew. It can also be called a black and tan and some other things, so be careful when you order it. Otherwise, you'll get something with Yukon Jack, and it's not quite as good. So here, we're wrapping things up here, and the throes of the revolution. And people have made all kinds of beers. There's sours. There's imperial stouts, which are very potent and ever so delicious. And imperial IPAs now, and there's and sour beers are good, but your humble agent's system can't really handle them very well these days. So there we have the end of the book. Everybody's happy. Everyone's drinking a different kind. Look at the different colors, and they're talking about Untapped, which is a way to track all the beers. But there you go. I mean, in heaven there is no beer. That's why we drink it here. But I'm not going if there's no beer and my cats aren't there. All right. Oh, there's the back of the book, which we saw too. And I highly recommend it. It's, once again, informative and entertaining, and it's easy on the eyes. So check it out when you got a chance. All right. That is our book review for the day. This is your humble agent signing off. And until our next assignment, and yes, we did use the king of beers. I don't care if Coors thinks it's them. It's not. But this is X7 signing off. And Sláinte me. No, Sláinte va.